Well, Western New Yorkers are being forced into the cemetery business. When a public cemetery goes broke, it gets forced on the local town government.
And then taxpayers in that town must pay for the cemetery's upkeep forever. In a 2 On Your Side original, investigative reporter Steve Brown examines abandoned cemeteries and the towns that simply get stuck with them.
This is Evergreen Cemetery in the town of Eden. Established in the 1800s, it is the final resting place for over 1,000. Sadly, we're told money is running out to keep the cemetery running.
So, this place, would you like it? Because Melissa Hartman really doesn't want another one.
No, we couldn't afford the maintenance on it.
But the Eden supervisor expects sooner or later Evergreen will become the responsibility of town government, and that would be the town's 8th cemetery.
Trees fallen, maintenance, any accident that could happen there. We have to deal with finding caretakers, grave diggers, and that's not something that a government should be doing.
And yet, Eden and lots of other towns have been forced into the cemetery business. Here's why. There's an estimated 6,000 cemeteries in New York, but state government does not regulate family, private, national, municipal, or religious cemeteries. The rest, 1,700 plus, organized as public nonprofit corporations, these are overseen by the New York State Division of Cemeteries. When these cemeteries fail, by state law, they're forced on towns, and towns alone.
Only towns end up with failed cemeteries?
That's correct. Villages have an option, but rarely exercise it for obvious reasons.
What about if it happens in a city?
There is no mandate that a city take over a cemetery.
Fleming, with the State Association of Cemeteries, points out that public nonprofit cemeteries fail for two basic reasons. Each must have a board to run it. If the board falls below 3 members, it can be handed over to a town. And if the cemetery runs out of money, again, the town gets it. The state says since 1990, 170 failed cemeteries have been turned over to towns.
My estimation is more along the lines of about 300, and I think there's about another 50 that are in the pipeline potentially.
And in the 8 counties of Western New York, the state has identified 43 abandoned cemeteries that have been handed over to town governments. Now, there is a state fund to help towns forced to accept failed cemeteries. The amount in it this year, $2 million.
It's more than double what it was last year.
So it should be plenty, right?
It's not. They're almost out of money already. The state fiscal year started.
It's May.
It's May. State fiscal year started April 1st. It only has a couple $100,000 left in the account for the rest of the entire fiscal year.
Priority had to be given to some cemetery disasters like this leaking and decaying mausoleum forced on a town near Ogdensburg. Back in Eden, Supervisor Hartman is not certain where she'll find money to pay for the perpetual upkeep of another cemetery.
We run a tight ship. We do a line-for-line budget. There'll be some years where I'm pulling $50 out of a line just to try to cut things back. What people I don't think understand about town budget is, there's not a lot of fluff.
And for these towns stuck with failed cemeteries, there's little help. One estimate is that the price tag for just the urgent repairs to these cast-off cemeteries could be $20 million statewide. Now, there is a bill moving through the state legislature that would require at least a 6-month notice to a town before a cemetery turns over its operation to town government. But the bill, which has passed the state Senate, is sitting in the Assembly and does not add any more state money to support towns that must care for abandoned cemeteries forever. If you'd like to see the list of abandoned cemeteries here in Western New York, it is now posted with this story on our website, WGRZ.com. Steve Brown, Channel 2 News.